And thank you for watching my video. This is called Tips for Aspiring Writers. So if that's what you aspire to, I have to put glasses on because the light through yonder window breaks and it's uncomfortable. So if you want to be a writer, published writer, successful, there are certain things that you need to know and need to do. First of all, be sure about your motives. Be really clear. When I started out writing, my motive really was to meet women somehow. I thought that if I was a successful writer, I'd meet all kinds of women. And I went to some writers' workshops here and there, not the good ones. And it was never at Bread Loaf in Vermont. I never went to that. That's probably the best one if you go to one. But I went to one because I thought I'd get laid, quite honestly. And I don't kiss and tell, so I'll leave it up to you if you think I have that kind of charm, or did. I'm 74 years old, so meeting women now is probably not something that's going to happen easily. However, I'm still trying to meet a woman, and in fact, I started writing a screenplay or teleplay, and it's called PT 2020. It's about physical therapy and a physical therapist, and the woman that I'm interested in happens to be a physical therapist. She's my physical therapist, and I am kind of gaga about her. She's really beautiful, and she's older. She's not a kid. She's maybe 10 years younger than me, and when I see her, we have a lot of fun together, and I think she might like me a little bit, but I really like her. And so anyway, I'm writing this screenplay. That's the first long piece that I've written in a long time. I've written 3 or 4 plays for the stage, and one was performed in Chicago a long time ago. I've written short stories. I've written nonfiction articles for trade publications, and I've written novels, The Day of the Tuna Fish Fungus, and that was one of them. And what was the other one? Oh yeah, Why Your Spiny Boxfish Really Hates You. And secondly, the Book of Excuses. That was a good book. Didn't sell very well. So as a writer, you're going to need certain tools. Alcohol. Now notice that this is a cheap brand of vodka. Cheap. You don't want to waste money on Grey Goose. It's just the same shit, okay? Second tool, you know what that is, I think. You're going to need something, okay? Back in the mid 80s, a friend of mine and we brought in cocaine from Colombia directly. Long story, but it was really good coke. I'm telling you, it came in like a rock, like the size of a softball. It was so clear, so pure, it was almost transparent, and it was just the greatest coke. And before I got the coke, I was struggling to finish this novel, Clockbreaker, for almost a year. Once I got the coke, I finished it and revised it in about 2 weeks. So these things come in handy. They may be illegal, but why do you give a shit? Okay? Tropic of Cancer was illegal, that book, when it first came out. Do you think Henry Miller gave a shit? I don't think so. So you need these tools. The other thing you need to do is write and write and write and write forever. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of words. Start out maybe emulating somebody's style like Hemingway or Charles Dickens or Charles Bukowski, Ferlinghetti. I started out actually emulating Ferlinghetti's novel called Her, H-E-R, not hair. And from there, I gradually developed my own style. I got to the point where before I would start writing, I would read the first 10 pages of a Hemingway novel or short story so that I could get that very clean, spare effect in my writing. Eventually, my writing became a lot more complex and flowery, and I think it worked for a lot of things. So you may want to start out that way, and eventually your own style will come forth. And if the publishers like it, if they think it'll sell, that's the important thing. It has to be good writing, but they have to feel that it's going to sell because their focus is the bottom line. It's different back in the 40s, 50s. You think of Jack Kerouac and the book On the Road, which was written on endless sheets of paper, not individual sheets, but a long roll of paper. There's no way that would have been published or could have been published today or even in the 90s. And a lot of writers from that period of time wouldn't have gotten published. So unfortunately, you have to have an eye to how popular your book might be if you want to be successful that way. Personally, at this point especially, I don't give a rat's ass. I'm going to write what I want. If a publisher or a magazine editor doesn't like it, they can go fuck themselves. That's my feeling. I don't know what else to tell you. This is part one. I have to keep it short because everybody that goes on YouTube has a very short attention span. You can't maintain focus for more than, some people, more than 30 seconds. A lot of you are going to click to something else after you watch about 30 or 45 seconds of this. If you do, I have no control of that. That's your problem. So if you have such a short attention span, you're not going to be much of a fucking writer, I'll tell you that much. So stay tuned for part two. We'll go into some other things, and I hope I can help you. Meantime, get to the typewriter, computer.